career of delivering in the biggest moments, Mahomes played one of his worst games in the biggest moment of his career.
Yeah, he did.
Now, there are lots of stats that say he didn't play well, but I was told not to say them.
No, that is not true.
Yes,
that is
yes,
not
America,
true.
he was.
I
was
Don't, I'm not, you haven't invested the time and energy to understand it well. So just say he didn't play his best.
No, that's not what happened.
Facts.
Say whatever you want.
Granted, did I get a little over my skis when I dig into this stuff? But I can't just say he wasn't good.
If it's just
the
part
audience
of the read,
wants
and
more.
so do it. Go ahead and say it.
You've really
it's just part of the read, not part of
whet
like
my
an
appetite
argument
now.
you're making.
Next Gen Stats says Mahomes' first half EPA, expected points average. Okay.
Talk about it,
not
Rob.
average, added.
That's why I didn't want to do it.
Go ahead.
Talk about it, Rob.
It was
It's so
right.
bad.
Was negative.
More than negative.
Yeah.
Negative 1.36. Which is the 10th worst first half of any game since 2018. Right there alongside Sam Darnold's IC Ghost game, who Sam Darnold's not that bad anymore.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay, got it.
It was really bad. It was an all-time bad game. Sam Darnold seeing ghosts.
Yeah. So what's the question?
So did the blowout loss shake your faith in Patrick Mahomes?
So, for me, no.
Of course not.
Well, so here's the thing. You could. All right, go.
Look, let's be honest. Patrick Mahomes, the last 2 seasons, and you've had me on the board. If you want to bring the board out early 2025, fine. He has not been what we once saw.
That's true.
And he's shown
better
us
than
a fact. Let me finish.
Well,
And so what we were told was they're practicing, they're saving plays.
all true. No, I'm
And
saying,
then,
I said all that.
And Patrick Mahomes is the best when his best is required in the greatest of moments. What we witnessed on Sunday night was an absolute ghost of a Patrick Mahomes. There is no way if myself or any player in this league will look at him and be like, man, I'm scared of it. Let me give you that's like going to a school and you recognizing the bully that's beating everybody up. They're beating everybody up while you watch them beat everybody up. He gets into some fights, he's going to always win. Then you see that bully one day get destroyed. The next day you come to school, you know that bully can fight, but you're not.
He's
you're
not
not
invincible anymore.
You're not scared of that bully anymore.
That is totally
I
true.
think
That's
that is
analogy.
totally fair. I think that part
Great
is
analogy.
totally fair, and he's going to have to do the exact same thing he did the last time this happened to him, which is then go and throttle the league for the next few years to build it back. Because
So can I say something about that last time? Because the last time I think we look at that and it's like, okay, yeah, but he did that, and we kind of give him. I don't want to say we give him a pass because it was against Tom Brady.
No, but
Yep.
I don't. I now all of a sudden people who I have actually argued for years that game is better than the stat line, and I have heard for years that scored 9 points, got blown out, was running for his life, all of that. Let me answer the question now. This is the exact. I didn't know this game was going to play out this way, obviously, but this is why I did the Bud List edition I did last week, which is don't do to Patrick what we did to LeBron, as far as if the standard, he is only going to be measured every step of his career against one guy who's accepted as the greatest ever, then he is always going to be discussed in lesser terms. So did it shake my faith of the certainty that Patrick will pass Brady? Yeah, because there's a huge problem for that, because the three-peat was going to be so important to where he wouldn't, in my opinion, need 7 rings, all of it. But did it shake my faith that he's the best quarterback alive and the second best quarterback in league history? Not at all. And this is where I think the history part matters. It's like, oh, well, playing that poorly in the Super Bowl. Everyone on your quarterback Mount Rushmore, except for Tom, and again, put him in a separate category, did it. We can show it to you. There's one exception, and I'll get to it in a moment. So, Dust, give me the quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. So, Marino made one, got blasted, played terribly. Peyton got blasted after a 55-touchdown year. Elway, he had another horrific performance previously, but that's as bad as it gets.
Okay. Let's talk about this. There's a lot that I want to unpack here. There's a lot that I want to unpack here, and I want to try my best to do it as methodically as I can, but, it's not always the easiest. First off, this alone is already misleading, because Patrick Mahomes was you'd be like, oh, see, Patrick Mahomes wasn't as bad as this. Patrick Mahomes scored 2 touchdowns. The score is 34-0. He scored 2 touchdowns when Nick Sirianni was getting a Gatorade shower. Seriously, look up the clip. Nick Sirianni is already being drenched in Gatorade, and they're smiling and laughing, and then they score these touchdowns. So this was nothing. So essentially, Patrick Mahomes really had 1 touchdown and 3 turnovers, and his passer rating would have been below 70. So this was truly an awful, awful game. Okay, and again, this is not me ripping Patrick Mahomes. Like, the whole point of this video is to not rip Patrick Mahomes. I cannot emphasize this enough. I still believe that Patrick Mahomes is an all-time great. I cannot be any more clear than that. But we have to have the honest conversation about all of this. And again, I even said, it's not like, if I don't say like, oh, Patrick Mahomes just played better, then they would have won. I think fundamentally the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, for that, of course, obviously being a Kansas City Chief, like, they went up against the better team. The Philadelphia Eagles were simply the better team. But when you expected, or when Patrick Mahomes' number was called, he did fail. The whole aspect, really what people talk about Patrick Mahomes being truly Patrick Mahomes, is that he can overcome anything, or that when the game calls his number, he steps up. And maybe he can't succeed every time, but he doesn't fail. There's a difference between succeeding and not failing. And Patrick Mahomes, again, because you can't expect him to be able to make that perfect throw every single time, or rise from the ashes every single time. But he also failed. So not only did he not succeed, but he failed. There was moments when you're like, okay, this is where Mahomes could be magical, right? He's facing some pressure. He kind of scrambles a little bit. Not only did he not throw a good pass or completion, but he then throws a pick 6, right? He gets a little banged up in the pocket, closing a little bit. Okay, the ball didn't just kind of hit the dirt. It got intercepted by Bond, in his own red zone. Not only did Patrick Mahomes try to avoid some of the pressure and try to run, but he then got his feet tangled and then slammed and hit the ground. And that's why I kind of reference that when you compare it to Jalen Hurts, it actually ends up being the perfect game, because, yeah, Jalen Hurts' O-line was dealing with the pressure better and the blitzing attack, but there were many, many, many moments that when the game called for Jalen Hurts, the game called Jalen Hurts' number, he stepped up. He dealt with the pressure. He dealt with the hands and the bodies in his face. He went up the middle and ripped off multiple 20-yard runs for a first down, and then like an 11, 12-yard run for another first down. He scrambled and went to the side and throws a beautiful ball to Saquon Barkley for 22 yards. Pocket collapsing again, literally hands in his face. He sidesteps, throws a beautiful ball, for 7, 8 yards, first down to A.J. Brown. Patrick Mahomes simply did not do that. And so I agree, because Nick can't have it both ways, because he's saying, hey, it's not fair. Don't do what we did to LeBron, what we did to MJ. And I defend that argument. I said that the whole GOAT debate between MJ and LeBron really ruined a lot of people's ability to just sit back and enjoy the greatness of LeBron. Like, it really at this point, and I'm still always kind of updating my feelings on this, like, it really is no longer interesting to me. Maybe when I was a little bit younger, but it really is no longer interesting to me to try to figure out who's really the GOAT, because it took away from my enjoyment of LeBron, because I would constantly be like, well, MJ, yeah, that's good, but could he do this? Rather than just appreciate the greatness. And I'd rather just appreciate the greatness, despite what a lot of Mahomes fans think. Like, I'm not a hater, and I have no desire to be a hater. I want to see people succeed. I have said this so many times. I'm grateful that I get to watch football where I'm in like my cognitive prime, and like I'm not too young where I'm going to forget all of these memories. Like, I actually can understand, what I'm seeing, and I get to see great quarterback play of Mahomes Mahomes and Allen, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, etc. And, but like I say this also all the time, but I crave honest conversations, unbiased conversations. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, it's not fair that we hold Patrick Mahomes to this standard because everyone has played bad in Super Bowls except Tom Brady. When you're out there saying that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest, that he is unstoppable, that every time Patrick Mahomes ever has a bad game, you go, nope, it wasn't actually a bad game. It was actually a great game. It was actually a perfect game. When you go out and see Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes go head to head in the playoff game, and Josh Allen makes a beautiful play, an unbelievably beautiful play to get the ball out on that corner blitz from Spags, and whoever it was dropped it. You come out and say Patrick Mahomes would have done better. Like, those are the absurd statements that I've been fighting against and rallying against. And now you can't say, well, hey, it's not fair that we criticize Patrick Mahomes. We're holding him to this unfair standard of of Tom Brady. And it's like, bro, you can't have it both ways. That's insane. And again, it's so perfect that in that AFC Championship game, we see Josh Allen make an unbelievable play that doesn't go his way, but still an unbelievable play. We have then someone like Nick Wright say, Patrick Mahomes would have done better in that moment. And then his very next game, when Patrick Mahomes' number was called to be better than Josh Allen in that moment, there was about 10 moments, and Patrick Mahomes was not better in a single one. Not in a single one. He had ample opportunity to show, okay, we saw what Josh Allen would have done in that moment. What will you do? And he did not succeed. And it's okay to say that out loud. It's okay to say that and not be a hater. I've always had incredibly honest conversations about Patrick Mahomes. He is great. He is an all-time great. He is special. He has also been on special and awesome and great teams and has been on the receiving end of some good fortune that some of these other quarterbacks, maybe a Lamar, maybe a Josh, maybe a whoever, have not. And again, that's not trying to pull down Patrick Mahomes, but think about what Nick is doing here. He kept saying Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. We've never seen anything like this. This is the greatest star. He doesn't lose in the playoffs. He's unbelievable. Any bad game in the regular season, we just explain away, well, he's bored. They're holding things back. Andy Reid doesn't want to reveal all his cards just yet. Playoffs. Then he gets absolutely rocked, dominated in the playoffs, and it's like, whoa, hold on. It's not fair that we hold him to the, look at John Elway and Peyton Manning and Marino. Yeah, you said that Patrick Mahomes and those three quarterbacks, that they're not even close to Mahomes' level, that it's not even close. So now we're using them as a reference point? You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. And, a part of me is actually kind of excited that a game like this happens for Patrick Mahomes, because I'm hopeful we can have more honest conversations, because that's all I ever want. I want to have real, unbiased, honest conversations about Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. That's what I crave. That's honestly what I crave. And I know you're always going to have to fight some fandom, although I would have hoped that it was not through the media as well. But there are a lot of general fans who just do not understand football very deeply. But they're huge fans, and that's understandable. Most people have never played sports. Most people have never played football. Most people have never played anything close to a competitive sport. And so they do rely on the media and other people to tell them, to add context, to add, an explanation for what they're seeing. And when you're constantly being fed biased, extreme takes, now the fans have distorted views. And again, that AFC Championship game was a perfect game to be like, Josh Allen, yeah, he had off to a little bit of a rough start, but he played awesome. The touchdown throws that he made, in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, against a more difficult defense, was unbelievable. And then that final play of the drive, where Josh Allen made that throw, that beautiful throw that would have been a first down and field goal range to tie the game or even go ahead and win the game, was awesome. The team failed him. He could have said that. But instead he said Patrick Mahomes would have been better. And that's when we start to get further and further away from the truth. And then that's why you get now the rebound effect of people being like, see, Patrick Mahomes failed. And now Nick is like, no. Whereas if we just had the honest conversation throughout the years, throughout the season, you get to now just say, you get to have essentially my take, where I'm like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes wasn't good enough. He wasn't able to overcome. The Eagles were the better team. Patrick Mahomes is not invincible. He is still special. I did not lose faith in him, because I've always had the same amount of faith in him. I have such respect for Patrick Mahomes. That's why it's like people say that I'm a hater, that I try to downplay him. I have such faith and such respect for Patrick Mahomes that when the score was 24-0, I was watching with friends and family and stuff, and I was still like, the game is not over. At halftime, I was like, the game is not over. Even when they stopped the Chiefs in that first drive of the second half, I definitely started thinking, this is feeling a little different. Even when it was 34-0, I was like, the game is not over. I was doing the math. I said, okay, the Chiefs, if they score 4 touchdowns with 4 2-point conversion, that would be 32 points. Like, I'm still doing the math in my head, okay? And I was like, the game's not over. The game's not over. That's how much respect and belief I have in Andy Reid, in Spags, in Mahomes, etc. You know, it doesn't get much more higher than that, quite honestly. So, you know, but it's like we can still have honest conversations about all these quarterbacks. We can talk about how Patrick Mahomes has been in a significantly better situation than Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, etc. You know, and then when you have even a slightly comparable situation, the Philadelphia Eagles, who now have built multiple awesome, great rosters, what happens? Philadelphia Eagles dominated this game. And there's no other way to look at it. And you can't say, well, you can't blame Patrick Mahomes' team in this instance now, because you told me that this was one of the greatest teams in the NFL. You told me that this team was unstoppable. That was the response every single step of the way. Every single step of the way throughout the last 2 years. They get bored during the regular season. They only care about the playoffs. You know, even when Patrick Mahomes throws like no touchdowns and like 2 interceptions and has a passer rating of like 55, you know, whatever it was against the 49ers, you tell me that game was actually perfect, that Patrick Mahomes did exactly what he needed to do to win the game. Like, it's just like, it's just not actual, honest, grounded conversation throughout the season. So then everything just kind of becomes a mess. And I read a comment that means the world to me. Like, this is a comment that I received from someone. I gained a lot of respect for you. Thank you for being objective. You could have easily hold on. It's a little. You could have easily celebrated. Said Mahomes was overrated and some more, but you didn't. You know? And a comment like that legit means a ton to me. It really does. Because that's exactly what I try to do. And again, this is, because again, for all year long, I've been called a hater. And again, I don't want to keep banging that drum because I want to, you know, but it is when you get called that nonstop every single day. It's like I couldn't make a single Kansas City Chiefs video without people. Like, even when I was praising and defending Patrick Mahomes, even in my post Super Bowl videos where I defended Patrick Mahomes, people were still kind of hating. And it's kind of just like, what do you want me to say? But like when I get a comment like that, it's just like, it's awesome because, right, if I really was what some of the commenters think I am, I mean, like, I could have just been doing so much. I could be just being like, Patrick Mahomes is so awful. He's not even as good as Peyton Manning. He's this, that. He could never be as good as Tom Brady. He'll never pass Tom. And I could just be going, he failed the team. What about all those turnovers? If he didn't do that, then they would have won. You know, like, because even Nick said, Patrick Mahomes deserves the most blame. And I'm like, I don't think so. I just think they played the better team. I'm not going to necessarily blame a player for losing to a team that is just clearly significantly better than them, like that, you know. And it's just like, and it is, because again, now compare it to what Nick has done, compare it to what happened when Lamar Jackson lost to the Buffalo Bills, you know, dropping banners showing Lamar Jackson, it looks like James Harden and Aaron Judge. And then again, when Josh Allen loses to Patrick Mahomes, loses to a team that's better than the Buffalo Bills, you know, a better defense, significantly better defense, yet Josh Allen still plays really, really great. The fact that his team left him on an island, calling a terrible game with just nonsense, you know, short yardage calls that like were just, it was just, here, Josh, do your best. You know, rather than criticize the coach and criticize the game plan, it was just, nope, Josh Allen, not good enough. Patrick Mahomes would have done better. Patrick Mahomes would have found better. I easily could have done that in a game like this. I could have made a video saying if Josh Allen was on the Kansas City Chiefs team, they would have won. I could have said that. And I didn't say that once. I could have said, Josh, because you guys know I think that Josh Allen is amazing. Also an all-time talent. I easily could have said, Josh Allen would have found a way. Josh Allen wouldn't have thrown an interception. He's got the best touchdown-interception ratio in NFL history in the playoffs. You know? I didn't do that. I didn't do that. So I got to do my own victory lap in terms of not hating victory lap. And so a comment like this honestly actually means the world to me. But, you know, you can't have it both ways, Mr. Nick Wright. You just can't. You can't say all the things you say, and then when you know, Patrick Mahomes fails and the Kansas City Chiefs fail, and he objectively and subjectively does not rise to the occasion in any moment in that game, quite frankly, you can't just say, well, wait a second. It's unfair to hold him to the Tom Brady standard. Dude, you were ready to crown him. Not only him, but this team. Said that this Kansas City Chiefs team was the greatest dynasty in NFL history. That this three-peat was going to be the greatest accomplishment. That the three-peat was going to solidify Patrick Mahomes as the undisputed GOAT. And now that he loses, you're saying that, like, there's no repercussions for that at all? That doesn't make any sense. That does not make any sense. And to be very clear, again, my faith in Patrick Mahomes has not been changed or shaken. And I do not, there's another video that I'm going to do, you know, where it's just like, you know, believe that Patrick Mahomes or the Kansas City Chiefs will be back, or, you know, whatever it is. And it's like, yes. This is why when I pushed back on the three-peat, I said the three-peat means nothing to me. And I said that Patrick Mahomes' entire career is the dynasty. His entire career is a dynasty, unless he continues to, like, fall off, you know, unless, like, we see more of these Super Bowl games happening in the regular season and in other playoff games, which, again, I'm not predicting. But, like, yes, you know, like, I think, because I do believe Patrick Mahomes will win another Super Bowl or two. Again, I have no idea how many, you know, but, like, I do believe he'll be there. I do believe he'll be competitive. I do believe he will rip the hearts out of other teams and other players in other games. And that's going to be a vintage Mahomes moment. I do believe that. But I also do believe, though, that this game kind of showed that I don't know how well Patrick Mahomes will age. You know, and that was always my concern, because, you know, that's what made Tom Brady so special, was that he not only could he age great, you know, obviously amazingly, which there's no guarantee that anyone will be able to do that, but even just his play on the field, his style of play aged perfectly. Patrick Mahomes less so. Because a lot of his elusiveness, his mobility and stuff like that, he's obviously not moving around like Lamar, and he's not as physical as Josh Allen, but it's obviously an actual true aspect of his game. You know, who knows what Mahomes will look like when he's 35, 36. You know, some of his special will obviously be diminished, where you can make the argument that Tom Brady's special wasn't necessarily diminished. So in terms of the longevity aspect, it kind of that goes against potentially, who honestly knows, against Patrick Mahomes. And I think a game like we saw against the Eagles in the Super Bowl slightly shows what the potential is when you lose mobility, when you're dealing with that pressure and whatnot. But again, you can't just call out and say, well, what about the sacks, the pressure, and all of that? That's why he failed. That's why it's not fair. And it's like, or that Andy Reid didn't do a good enough job. You can't have it both ways, because then you have to admit that when he won, he was protected and had great play calling, etc. And when these other quarterbacks have lost, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, then you would have to say, well, the play calling wasn't good, the O-line wasn't good, the game plan wasn't good. You have to do it for everyone then. You have to be consistent. And that's what I personally always strive for. So thank you so much for that comment from Fox King. I really appreciate it, because that is what I strive to be. I strive to be as consistent as I possibly can be. And hopefully a lot of Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes fans can see that throughout this process of Mahomes and the Chiefs losing. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs blowout loss in this game? Has it shaken your faith in Patrick Mahomes at all? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.